Hare Krishna. We continue reading from prayers of Queen Kunti. We are on the 11th prayer. It's from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 28. My Lord, I consider your Lordship to be eternal time, the Supreme Controller, without beginning and end, the all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. So we have been hearing the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and we'll continue reading the purport. The word Charantam means moving. The Lord moves everywhere, within and without, and we simply have to make our vision clear so that we may see Him. So, when the window is very dirty, we can't look outside. But once we clean the window, we can very well see outside very clearly. Right now, although we are pure souls, we are souls, but our consciousness is covered. Our consciousness is covered by this, by matter, material, by this material senses. So what do we do? What do we do? How can we see Him? By devotional service. We can purify our senses so that we may perceive the presence of God. So it's not that the soul does not have senses. The soul has senses, but right now it's been covered by this material senses, by this gross senses that we can see, eyes, ears, nose, by this material body. So by devotional service, we have to purify our senses, our consciousness. The soul is pure conscious, but right now, because of association with matter, since time immemorial, our consciousness is covered. So we are not able to see the Lord. We are not able to see ourselves. We are not able to see the Lord. So how can we purify? By devotional service, which begins by hearing and chanting, remembering. And what will happen? We will be able to see the Lord face to face. We will be able to see ourselves. We will be able to see the Lord. Why? Because that's the original position. That's the true position. It's not artificial. Those who are less intelligent simply try to find God within. But those who are advanced in intelligence can see the Lord both within and without. So the Lord is everywhere. The Lord is everywhere. He's omnipresent. The yogic system of meditation is actually meant for those who are less intelligent. One who practices meditation in yoga must control the senses. Yoga indriya samyamaha. Our senses are very restless. And by practicing the different asanas or sitting postures, one must control the mind and senses so that one can concentrate upon the form of Vishnu within the heart. So the yogi, what does he do? Why does he do the different postures? Why? So he can control his mind and senses. Why? So that he can concentrate on the form of Lord Vishnu within the heart. So the yogi, the bona fide yogi, it's not that he's meditating on something void or just some nothing or just some any object. No. The bona fide yogi, he's meditating on the Supreme Lord within the heart. This is the yoga system recommended for those who are too much absorbed in the bodily concept of life. So this is how the yogi does. He controls his mind and senses, and he fixes his attention. He tries to concentrate on the Supreme Lord, the Paramatma, the form of Vishnu in the heart. So however, because bhaktas, devotees, are more advanced, they do not need to undergo a separate process to control their senses. Rather, by engaging in devotional service, they are already controlling the senses. So an easier way to control, because it's so difficult to control our senses. The senses are always demanding attention. The eyes want to see something. The nose wants to smell, the tongue wants to eat and speak, and the mind wants to think something. It's not very easy. So a devotee, what does he do? How does he control the senses? For example, if one is engaged in worshiping the deity, cleansing the temple, decorating the deity, cooking for the deity, and so on, One's senses are already engaged in the service of the absolute truth. So where is the chance of their being diverted? So the deity is the Supreme Lord. It's the Supreme Lord himself, as because the Lord is absolute. So his paraphernalia is absolute, his name, his form, his qualities, his pastimes, they're all absolute. So if a devotee, he is worshipping the deity, he's cleaning the temple, he's decorating the temple, he's cooking for the deity, automatically all the senses are engaged, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mind, everything is engaged in the service of the Lord. So in the service of the absolute truth. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. Bhakti, devotional service, simply means engaging our senses, Rishika, in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikesha. So who's the master of the senses that we have? This material body we have been given, we have senses. So who's the master of this body? We think we are the master, but we just found ourselves inside this body. We think the material energy is the master. No, it's the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the master. He's the one who's giving creating all these elements, not the material nature. She is a facilitator. She provides. She's facilitating this entire arrangement. So how to purify our senses is to engage the senses in the service of Rishikesha, and that is bhakti. So that's the reason Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, always think of me. So mind is a sense, it's called the sixth sense. So always think of me, Krishna is saying. So he's saying you fix your mind on me. You become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage to me. He says that in the Bhagavad Gita. So that then that is bhakti, that's devotional service. Then what happens? Then we are getting purified, we are associating with Krishna, and we will be able to understand ourselves, self-realization, and understand Krishna. Now our senses are engaged in sense gratification. I'm thinking that because I'm this body, I must satisfy my senses. In fact, however, this is a contaminated stage of life. When one comes to the understanding that he is not this body, but a spiritual soul, part and parcel of God, he knows that his spiritual senses should be engaged in the service of the supreme spiritual being. Thus one attains liberation, mukti. So right now we are thinking we are the body. So we are thinking we are the body, so we are thinking I must satisfy my senses, but we are the spirit soul. We are spirit soul, we are not the body. So spirit soul, and I'm a part and parcel of the Lord. Once one is able to understand I'm a part and parcel of the Lord, and I'm a spirit soul. I have spiritual senses. So with my spiritual senses, I need to engage in the service of the Supreme Being. Then this is liberation, mukti. Mukti. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kankshati sarva sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. Pure devotional service begins from the platform of liberation. Or from the point of liberation begins the pure devotional service. Because we, the soul, the spirit soul, we have spiritual senses. We have spiritual senses, and we are parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So it is our duty to engage our spiritual senses in the service of the Supreme Lord. It is the duty, Sanatan Dharma, of every living being, every living entity. One attains liberation when one gives up the false idea that the body is the self, and when one resumes his actual position of service to the Lord. Muktir hitvan yatha rupam swarupena vyavasthitihi. Bhagavatam 2.10.6. So that is liberation. This is liberation. When one attains liberation, when one gives up the false idea that the body is the self. Right now we are thinking, this body is me. I am this body. That's what we are thinking. But once we come to our original position, when we realize I'm a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, I'm a part and parcel. And it is my eternal activity. It's my eternal activity to have a loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. That is liberation. When we are conditioned, we give up our original constitutional position, which is described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as being that of eternal service to Krishna. Jivera Swarupaya Krishnera Nityadas. But as soon as we employ ourselves in the service of the Lord, we are liberated immediately. There is no need to pass through some preliminary process. This very act of engaging one's senses in the service of the Lord is evidence that one is liberated. So when one is engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord, that person is a liberated person. Why? Because he's situated already in his constitutional position. Jivera Swarupaya Krishna, Krishnera Nityadas. Lord Chaitanya says that. When Sanatan Goswami asks him, who am I? Who am I? He says, Jivera Swarupaya Krishnera Nityadas. All the jivas, all living entities are parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Not only that one particular person is and another is not. No, it is, whether we accept it or not, whether we believe in it or not, it's the fact. Whether we accept it in this life or it takes us thousands and millions of lives to accept it, that's the fact. It's the fact. And so what is the process given to us to revive? Just hear and chant. Just hear and chant, and everything will become clear to us. This liberation is open for everyone. Samam Charantam. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna does not say to Arjuna, only you may come to me and become liberated. No, the Lord is available for everyone. When he says, Sarva Dharmam Parityagya, Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, give up all other duties and surrender unto me. He is speaking not only to Arjuna, but to everyone. Arjuna was the original target, but in fact, Bhagavad Gita was spoken for everyone, for all human beings, and therefore, one must take advantage of it. That's all we have to do. Just surrender unto Krishna. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, he's telling to Arjuna, and this message is meant not only for Arjuna, but each and every one of us. He's saying, give up, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. And how do we surrender? Lord Chaitanya says, surrender begins by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. All the Shastras say that in the Kali Yuga, the way of perfection is Hare Nam Kevalam. Kali Yuga Dharma, Hari Nam Sankirtan. So what is this Kali Yuga Dharma for? For self-realization, for God realization, by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So we must take advantage of it. It is available to us. And we can make ourselves fortunate by accepting this process, by engaging in hearing and chanting. We can make ourselves fortunate. So we'll stop here for today. Are there any questions or comments? If no, then thank you so much for listening in and joining in. Kunti Maharani ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.